We used to go, us boys, Krause didn't have any money, and we used to go and help him make hay and stuff in the summertime. And we used to catch crawdads in the river, soft craws for fishing. And of course you pinch your head off and away. And so he found out about that. He told little boys, he says, boys, you don't throw the crawdad heads away. Oh, well, why not? Oh, he said, you save them. So we saved probably half a gallon or so of them, or maybe a gallon. And he made a soup out of them. And I'm telling you, there's no soup today that tasted like that. It was so superb.
When we were in school, of course, we didn't have a gymnasium and we played outside a lot. And we'd do Ring Around the Rosie, and at the school, there was a little place where us girls would go, and it was like, we called it a dollhouse. It was all pretend, but the area was so neat because it was just like a little house where we played and did some sledding there. And but we would go at noon. We were allowed to go to the store. We would walk down to the store and maybe have a 5-cent Coke, or which was only a 6-ounce bottle.
We didn't have anything, and Agnes and Charlie Shelley lived up on the corner, and they had a daughter, Mary Jo. And Agnes and my mom would take Mary Jo's clothes and cut them off and do them over, and that's what I wore to school, was hand-me-down clothes. But we didn't have anything. I mean, you know, nobody had a lot.
I can remember the first TV we got. I was probably almost junior high, and what a thrill it was. It was like a little 10-inch screen, black and white, and we got to see the state final basketball championships. And I remember we had neighbors in to see that, and we'd have a big chili soup supper, and that was a big event. And I can't imagine in today's world how we all crowd around that little TV. But to think we could actually see a ball game in our living room that was being played in Indianapolis, that was awesome back then.
It was just a wonderful feeling that you knew all these people who you lived around. And one of the special people to me was Gladys Props. She lived down along the river in a 2-story white house, and I would go visit her. And one time I felt like my sisters were being mean, so I packed my suitcase. Mom was gone. I left my suitcase at the school grounds by the swings, and I went to Aunt Gladys's, and I said, Aunt Gladys, can I come live with you? And she said, why, sure, you just come right in and live with me. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to go get my suitcase, because I'd packed a few things and had my dime bank. And I walked back and picked that up and went back to her house, and she had cookies and milk for me. I sat down to eat cookies and drink some milk, and the phone rang, and it was my mother, Esther Hiatt. And she said, is Sherry Lynn there? And Aunt Gladys said, no, I haven't seen Sherry Lynn. And about 5 minutes later, my mother was there because she knew.
We had what we called a sugar woods. It was about 1,000 maple trees that we tapped for maple syrup. About once every 2 to 3 to 4 years. And we would tap about 1,000 trees, hang about 1,200 buckets, about 2.5 gallon galvanized buckets on there. In the early spring, late fall, or late summer, or late winter, I should say, early spring, when the sap was running up and down in the maple trees, and we would make maple syrup out of that. And it would take between about 35 to 50 gallons of water, according to what time of the season it was. Early part of the season, I think it was less, if I have my story remembered correctly, and the latter part of the season it took more water to boil down to make a gallon of syrup.
They was starting to build the Salamonie Dam, and so we found that if we go down there in the evening, we could get pretty close to where they were working and watch them and just had an interest in it. And one night, a fellow stopped running a road grader, and he wanted to know if we'd want to take a ride. So we said, yeah, we would do that. And so we got on and started riding with him. And at the time, they were working 2 10-hour shifts a day. And this was in the evening on their second shift. And he said, we're going to eat our lunch after a while. And he said, after our break, might be able to arrange a ride in those big earth movers that they were using. And so we thought that sounded good. So we stuck around, and they ate their lunch, and we got done. They said, okay, let's go. So we both got into those big earth movers and rode for a while, and that was an experience that I'll never forget.